I'm going to show you the most amazing stone pillar in the world. That's not a sentence you thought you would hear today, was it? This stone pillar contains a story of one of the most transformational figures in history, and it contains a story of how Buddhism went from being this small religion in India to being practiced by over 7% of the world's population. Today, you can go to Japan, China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, India, and you see Buddhists, 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 Buddhists. This is a stone pillar installed by Emperor Ashoka, who lived around 238 BCE. Ashoka had set up these stone pillars all across his empire. You'd spot them by highways or in busy town centers, kind of like public sculptures in city squares today. But these weren't like the usual columns you see in Europe. They didn't have a base, and they were topped with a design that looked like lotus petals. The most famous ones had 4 lions on the top facing in different directions. These 4 lions are now a part of India's national emblem. This stone pillar is Rock Edict 13, where Ashoka writes, "After the conquest of Kalinga, I developed a deep attachment to Buddhism and Dhamma. I grew interested in its teachings and its knowledge." So this was basically Ashoka saying sorry. Why was he saying sorry? He had just launched a bloody invasion of Kalinga, modern-day Odisha, to control a key trade route. The result of that war was horrific. 100,000 people died, and 150,000 people were taken prisoner. According to popular legend, Ashoka was so shaken by the violence that he renounced warfare and he embraced Buddhism. But is this story entirely true? Did Ashoka really become a Buddhist? And if he did, was he responsible for spreading Buddhism around the world? Let's find out. Let's go back in time. Ashoka's grandfather was Chandragupta Maurya, founder of the Maurya Empire. He defeated the Greek warrior Seleucus, who exchanged 500 elephants for peace and secured control over eastern India. Later in life, Ashoka met the Jain monk Bhadrabahu. He renounced everything, and in 297 BCE he undertook Salekhana, a ritual fast unto death. Learning of his grandfather, Ashoka was probably drawn towards religions like Jainism and its sister religion Buddhism. And he didn't become Buddhist overnight. Changing your religion is kind of like taking up a habit like tennis or crystal meth. It's a process. It doesn't happen as simply as switching over a light switch. And we have proof of Ashoka's gradual transformation to Buddhism. In Minor Rock Edict 1, Ashoka writes, "It has been 2.5 years since I became an Upasaka, but even now I have not made a full effort." Now, what is an Upasaka? An Upasaka is a lay follower of the Buddha, someone who loves Buddhism but is not a monk. And once Ashoka became a Upasaka, he had his messages inscribed on rocks and pillars. These were known as Dhamma Lipi, so ordinary people could read them and understand. Ashoka used multiple scripts, Brahmi, Kharoshthi, Greek, Aramaic, whatever suited the region. So Ashoka had these pillars inscribed with messages. But how did he use those pillars to spread his messages? He used 3 sophisticated communication strategies that are used by marketers even today. First, he understood the power of repetition. He kept his messaging simple and he repeated one word, Dhamma, constantly. What is Dhamma? Dhamma is a foundation, a universal order. In the Rig Veda, Varuna's Dharma holds the sky and earth apart. People often spoke in those days of things like Swadharma, Rajadharma, Dharma Yuddha, Apadharma, but Ashoka simplified it to just Dharma, and he used it again and again and again. The second way Ashoka spread Buddhism was to recognize that words aren't enough. You have to create a system to back the messaging. He appointed Dhamma Mahatmas who taught moral behavior, and he appointed Rajukas, judges who saw legal and spiritual matters. In Rock Edict 13, Ashoka writes that he sends envoys to Syria, Egypt, Macedonia, and Sri Lanka. His son Mahinda and daughter Sanghamitta traveled to Sri Lanka. Sanghamitta even carried a branch of the Bodhi tree with her. This was the tree under which the Buddha achieved enlightenment. It's a very special tree, maybe a little more special than that beautiful tree in your backyard. Third, Ashoka respected all faiths. In Rock Edict 10, he writes, "The king desires that all religions be respected, and no one should look down on others." He never forced conversions, he never insulted other beliefs, he emphasized the word susrusu, truly listening, and being eager to learn. This act of active listening means you listen to someone prepared for the possibility that your mind might change based on what that someone says. Ashoka was an emperor who did something many world leaders have never done. He said, "I am sorry." Anusochanti. It's such a great sign of a leader, someone who can admit mistakes. This was a man who showed compassion not to humans but to animals as well. The great Indian translator Patanjali called him Bodhavartika, the vegetarian king. Ashoka might have been alive during the 200 BC time period, but his legacy still lives on today in the love poems of Tagore, in Gandhi's message of non-violence, or every time an Indian grandmother asks a grandson or a granddaughter, "Is there egg in this cake?" Most importantly, Ashoka's legacy lives on in how modern India is structured. The Nobel Prize winning economist Amartya Sen writes, "The state has to keep a distance from all religions." In Ashoka's time, Buddhism doesn't become an official religion. All other religions have to be tolerated and treated with respect. So secularism in the Indian form means not no religion in government matters, but no favoritism of any religion over any other. And in the world today, where countries want to form around their own religions, their own identities, their own languages, their own isms, a country that Ashoka wanted is such a wonderful country to be part of. And even though he made these stone pillars and edicts for people of his time, they are just as relevant for people of our time. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please consider subscribing for this channel so that we might meet again. Have a lovely time and enjoy the next 7 days that lie ahead. Bye.